All right, I'm back with another recent acquisition. And you're looking at this now going, I know what that is. He's done lots of these before. That's one of those HMV 102s again. Well, sort of. You'd be kind of wrong. It's not an HMV 102, no matter how it looks. This is a German Electrola Model 101. And the pins are sticking a little bit. There we go. Electrola started off life as a subsidiary of HMV in Germany. Later became its own company, I suppose. I do not have a lot of information on the history of Electrola. Not a lot around. I mean, the company disappears in 1945 at the end of the National Socialist era when the Russians took the factory, dismantled it, shipped it back to Russia, and would spend the next 50 years churning out copies of the 102, which was also made by Electrola. They made the 101, they made the 102, and they made this, the 106. The 106 is a hybrid machine. It's part 101 and it's part 102. And I think I might have gone over this a couple of times before with other 106s I've worked on. But as you can see, a lot of 102 similarities here. We have the inside cover, which now has this placard here with Electrola instead of his master's voice. The horn, the tone arm, that's pure 101. The split motor board, two-piece motor board, that's 101. The motor, however, is the 102's motor. The cabinet, the case, that is all from the 102. And the horn, of course, is also going to be 101. The reproducer is the number 4, like the 101 had. In this case, this is a pot metal reproducer, but surprisingly, not in horrible condition. Usually these things are so terrible, they're cracking and crumbling and falling apart. Let me see if I can get this off of here. Assess it a little bit better. See how I'm taking this off? Okay, that's how you do it. Usually they're stuck a lot more than this, caused by the rubber here, the ring, kind of getting locked on there. Now look at that. That's really not that bad. It's not all brass, unfortunately. It is definitely a 4A. It says it right on it. 4A, it's pot metal, the back at least. I don't know if the front ring is pot metal still or if it's actually brass. I think that's brass. In any event, I don't know if I'm going to dare attempt to split this apart and rebuild it. I might give it a little bit of a go because it doesn't really look that bad. It might be doable. There's a needle stuck in there. You see it down there on the bottom? I wonder if I can shake that. It doesn't matter. I'm taking it apart anyway. If I do anything with it, I will be taking it apart. But along with this, from a totally different vendor, I have acquired an all brass Electrola number 4. They're pretty rare, especially in this country, and I did score one of them. So I do have a reproducer, a correct Electrola reproducer to rebuild for this machine. And I may do that and keep this in its original condition. You can see this is a lighter colored rubber. That was like almost a brown, maybe a white rubber, not the usual black I'm familiar with. Hard as a rock, of course. And so are the gaskets that are in there. They're all cracked and everything typical. It's very old. This machine would have been made sometime around, I don't know, 1935 or 36, somewhere in there. You can see this is the 101's tone arm, just like any 101 would have had. Oh, look at that. Let's get a closer look at what's going on there. Somebody must have been having problems with the auto brake, so they have done something. They've bent this arm. Okay, they bent that arm up. That's an easy fix. It's only screwed on here and here. You take it off and you can straighten it. They bent the arm to miss the arms of the auto brake right here. It's totally missing it. Obviously there was a problem. All right, a lot of people don't know how to deal with those. I do, so I'll definitely take care of that. You can see the crank. That's a 101's crank. Slotted crank, just like any 101 has. I know it's hard to tell. I'm not sure how well this is coming out in the video. This machine is a colored machine with a dead giveaway. Just like with HMV, all the colored machines had chrome-plated hardware. The reds, the blues, so on. Only the black had the black hardware. And this is a very dark green, like a really dark forest green. While HMV's is a lighter colored green, you can pick them out a mile away. This is very dark, and it appears like it's been that way from the factory because it would be faded. If it was faded everywhere, it would be faded here under the lid. It's not. Not sure why they went with blue here instead of green. Maybe it was changed at some point, but really doesn't look it. That does look like it's original. And if you look here in the horn opening, that's also blue and not green. This is an HMV, that would be green. And we have something back there that I actually can't even read. Let's see if the camera can read it. What does that say? Anybody have a clue? Because I don't. I'll take a closer look at it in a minute. We have the metal needle box, and that has, oh, look at that, it's got needles in it. Little collection of them. You know, sometimes you get these machines, they have needles, and the temptation is, oh, look at that. That'll save me $1. I'm going to use those needles. Don't do that. It's not worth it. Needles are cheap, okay? You can get hundreds and hundreds. I just bought 1,000 of them on eBay, okay? They're available. You can get needles. But in the old days, it might not have been so easy to get them. Say, if somebody was fooling with this machine in the 1960s or the 50s, maybe they didn't have a supply they could easily access. You couldn't just hop on down to the 5 and 10 and grab some, because that era had long passed. So they would try to reuse them. And who knows if these needles have been played or not, but if they have, they've now turned into beautiful cutting implements for your records. So resist the temptation, dump the needles out, put new needles in there so you know what you're playing. The original handle is still on there. That is a good indication with any of this type of machine, HMV or otherwise, or Electrola, that it really probably hasn't been used a whole lot. Because that leather handle is usually the first thing to rot off of these if it's being used a lot and carried around. It's got a little bit of raggedy here. It's not too bad on the edges. That's preservable. There's no reason to change that. That's in good shape yet. The cabinet itself, the wood is all good. I haven't detected any loose joint. There is a problem with the hinge. The hinge is a little bit bent, so watch this. Now, first, before I do something stupid, let's put this out of the way. All right. See what's happening here? The pin is not lining up. This lid is sitting a little bit forward. That indicates there was a problem with the hinge. Probably at some point the lid was up, somebody leaned on it too much. Oh yeah, you could see. That hinge needs to come off of there and be straightened. Okay, that's not a big deal. You know, while I'm at it, I can tighten up the screw holes if they're loose. It's all going to come apart anyway. This machine needs a full service. It's been sitting for who knows how long. A little bit of life in there. Hold on. Let me wind that up a little. How much? Oh yeah, it's not too much. Not too much of a wind in there. Let's put a wind in it. A little bit. I just want to see if the motor's making any weird noises. Part of the assessment. Huh? Spins right up. Looks like it's close to 70 at RPM. Maybe somebody's been keeping up the maintenance, though frankly it doesn't look it. You know, I see a lot of dust on that motor board. I don't think it's been apart in a very long time. Well, either way, it's coming apart. Let's see. Oh, a little bit loose there. That's easy fix. That's easy to tighten up. Everything on this machine can be fixed. All right, it's adjustable. That's the one thing about these. The tone arm here, there's a little piece in there. You take a, oh, you hear that? Hear the thump? That's a dry spring. Okay, nobody's been in there in a long time. All right, not a big deal. It's coming out. It's going to get a new spring anyway because I happen to have them in stock. And long experience dealing with the springs in these machines has taught me that just stop screwing around and just put a new spring in it while you have it apart. You know, every time I try to preserve the original spring, it bites me. It comes back to bite me. It has a power fall off. It doesn't have enough power to push through even a mildly worn record, you know. So now I just buy new. I put new springs in. They're not that expensive. Let's take a look at the cabinet. Now, these 106s, like the 102s of this era, have these little rubber feet that go in these little spots here. You can see up here they've replaced them with something. I don't know what that is, some kind of rubber washer and a small screw. This one is missing along with some of the material. I can patch that in, that's not the end of the world. Here, there's 4 on the side and there's 4 on the bottom. Wow, you hear that? They don't last, they simply don't. They're natural rubber, they're just glued in there and they turn rock hard and they fall out. Now there is a source in the UK for these. They advertise, you know, on USA eBay also. It's like 15 bucks for a set plus another 10 bucks to ship it. I have at least 4 of these machines now that need these feet. So what I'm going to do is make a bulk order and save on the shipping a little bit. That's what I've been waiting for. You know, get a bunch of these machines together that need them and just order a bunch. I'll probably order some extras too. The gentleman offering, or lady who's offering the service, says they can tint it to pretty much any color you want, I guess. So you want bright pink, no problem. You want green, that's great. I'm gonna have to tell them a very dark green. You know, not HMV green. It's gonna have to be Electrola green. Okay, let me see if I can read. See, joins back here all good. Yeah, and you can see that the hinge needs attention. Now, luckily, I do have a parts machine for the 106. I have a 106 that had serious case problems, no covering left on it, but things like the hinge are good on it if I need to use it. This hinge looks like it's repairable. There's nothing bad that I haven't seen before. This can be easily fixed. And everything else is there. Nothing's missing here except the record tray. Yes, this machine did come with a record tray, just like the 102 did before the war. Here are the little bullet bumpers that the feet on the tray catch on as it goes around so it doesn't spin around loose in there while you're carrying it with the tray in it. I do not have extra trays left. If anybody knows where to acquire some trays, let me know, because now I need 2 of them. I need one for the red one, the red 102 I got, what, 4 or 5 months ago, and now I need one for this. And everything else is actually in pretty good shape. All right, excuse me here a sec. I gotta put you down so I can get up out of this chair without knocking the table over. Let's see if I can tell what that is. I think we're gonna have to shed some light on it. All right. A.L. Ernst. A.L. Ernst. Radio and Music. Wiesbaden. Wiesbaden. Okay. And something street in German. Radio Music. Radio und Music. A.L. Ernst. Radio und Music. Wiesbaden. Okay. That obviously is the dealer. I don't know if you can see that. See if I can prop the light on it a little bit and kind of focus in on it. There it is. Okay. Never saw that before. Well, I have on HMVs, not that particular sticker, obviously, but dealer markings and such. It's the first time I've had an Electrola that I believe had a dealer marking in it. And you don't see that too often. I don't know why. Not that these machines are very common in this country. HMVs were never sold here to start with. So it's pretty unusual to see an HMV machine here. But they could sneak in from Canada. They could be carried in by returning American servicemen. But the Electrola, pretty much the only way this is getting in here, for one that's been sitting as long as this has, is it was hand carried here by a tourist returning from Germany, or a serviceman after the war brought it home. Now I have a number of Electrolas, 101s, 106s, and so on. And at least 2 of them, I do know how they got here. One was a tourist machine, complete with steamship stickers all over it. That's obvious. The other one, I bought it from the son of the man who brought it home. That was a black 102. No, I'm sorry, no, that's not the one. Which one did they bring home? No, it was a black 106, yes. A black 106 similar to this one, and just a soldier returning home. He bought it over there and wanted to play his swing music or whatever, and he brought it home. Very popular with the soldiers. A lot of guys did bring these home. And of course, something I'm going to have to deal with on the lid, which I don't know if I'll be able to take off. What do you see there? No, that's not reflected sunlight. That is spray splatter. Some idiot painted something. You see the line here where something was covering it. They painted, didn't get any on the front here for some reason, somehow. But up here, just right here, paint splatter, red or pink paint splatter. That may have to stay on there. There's not much I can do, and I will not risk destroying the cover to get it. I'm going to have to do enough. It's not lifting anywhere. A lot of times you'll see bubbles where you know, the material, the Rexine. I don't know what the Germans called it. The British called it Rexine. We called it leatherette or whatever. You know, and you see it is bubbling up when the glue is loosening and the material is lifting away from the wood or the paperboard that's under there. This does not have that. This is all on the back, everywhere. It's all solidly on there. It's only peeling a bit here on the corners where that's just from being banged around, and here a little bit, which is pretty much normal. It's not doing it on this side. This is all stuff that can be glued. That's not a problem. This will all be blended in. So will that. We'll get it looking pretty good. You know, the next thing I'm going to do to this is completely strip it apart. That'll be another video. I'll show you what's under the lid of an Electrola 106. Why they call it the 106, don't know. Why they made this hybrid like this, don't know. Maybe they were not licensed by HMV to do anything else for a while. I really have no clue. You know, I have a huge book on all things HMV. Really have nothing on Electrola except a few little bits and pieces picked up off the internet or comments left on past videos I've done on these machines. And you can see the auto stop label. That's all in German. More German on the speed control. When you have the 101, that will all be in English, because those machines, even though they say Electrola, were actually made in the UK. These machines were made in Germany, obviously Eastern Germany somewhere, if the Soviets had control of that part of the country at the end of the war, to dismantle the factory and ship it home. And I think I've done a video on the Soviet version of this, not this particular, not the 106, but the 102. They chose to copy the 102, which was the most advanced design, I guess. Don't know. But there you go. There's a preliminary look at a green Electrola 106. Apparently purchased in Wiesbaden.